Tua getting his first ever start in the NFL. A lot of fun because he gets to play Aaron Donald. Let's check him out in the weekly walkthrough. The 22nd different starting quarterback for Miami since the year 2000 when Marino retired. Only the Browns and Bears have tried more quarterbacks. He's going to have to be good in those close margins of error, as I call them. Next-gen kids, the craft beer guys say the Dolphins receivers have averaged 2.3 yards of separation, worst by any receiving corps in the league. Ryan Fitzpatrick had the fourth highest rate of tight window passes in the league before being taken over now by Tua. All right, he's going to have to rely on his offensive line to keep him safe, but according to the pass block win rate at ESPN, the Dolphins have sustained their block 2.5 seconds, 48% of the time. That's third worst in the NFL, just ahead of both New York teams. The man that caused the most problems is going to be this guy, Aaron Donald, all up in his life, all up in everybody's life. For more on Donald's possible disruption, here's Cameron Wolf.
Don't be surprised to hear Tua yelling 99 pre-snap Sunday. It's for Aaron Donald. Dolphins OC Chan Gailey wants to identify him. The goal, to scheme double teams his way and plays away from him. In a Tua offense, expect more run-pass options, screens, and quick timing routes to neutralize Donald's aggressiveness. The Dolphins want Tua to be more point guard than superstar. Ryan Fitzpatrick's average time to throw, 2.41 seconds. And with two rookies protecting Tua's blind side, he'll need to duplicate that in order to prevent Donald from turning his feel-good story into a nightmare.
Right, and can you imagine first career NFL start and you're staring at old 99? Despite being double-teamed most often this season, Donald has created 10 sacks with his pass rush wins, the most in the NFL. Also beating his block in 2.5 seconds, 22% of the time. Second highest rate among interior defensive linemen. Essentially, we're humiliating offensive linemen here in the Aaron Donald segment. And by the way, Tua will not only have to deal with Donald and Jalen Ramsey, he'll have to deal with Dolphins history. Did you know since Dan Marino retired in 2000, Dolphins QBs are 1-4 when making their first career starts. Chad Henne, the only winner of the batch. And by the way, if you're wondering how Dan Marino fared, he lost his first career start a couple games into.
For the last 2 years, Des Bryant is back in the NFL. He will join the Ravens practice squad. The Ravens passing attack has sputtered as their wide receivers rank last in the NFL in receptions and receiving yards. Jamison Hensley has more.
Des Bryant was emotional about getting his chance to return to the NFL following a 2-year layoff. After receiving the news, Bryant tweeted out, "I'm thankful. I can't stop crying." The Ravens are impressed with Bryant's perseverance. He worked out with Baltimore in August, but left without a deal because the Ravens wanted him to improve his conditioning. 2 months later, Bryant is back and is expected to be on the practice field tomorrow. Bryant provides what Lamar Jackson needs on the outside, a physical presence who can make contested catches. How soon will Bryant suit up for games? Lining up Bryant against the Steelers this Sunday seems unlikely because he still needs to get into football shape. The last time Bryant played in an NFL game, Lamar Jackson was throwing touchdown passes at Louisville. With the Ravens, I'm Jamison Hensley, ESPN.
1 week to the NFL trade deadline, and the Cowboys are already making moves. According to sources, defensive end Everson Griffin is heading to the Lions in exchange for a 6th-round conditional pick. Jeremy Fowler is here now. So Griffin is one trade. What are you hearing about who else could be on the move between now and Tuesday?
With you, and Griffin could be the start of a mini pass rush run right now. Takk McKinley in Atlanta is a name I'm hearing buzzing about. He's a guy who's a former first-round pick, could use a fresh start. Atlanta's looking to dump some pieces. Carlos Dunlap, he's made clear he wants out of Cincinnati. The Bengals wouldn't mind shedding his salary. And then Quinnen Williams in New York. The Jets are not actively shopping the former number 3 overall pick, but I did speak to a league source who said, look, I think they're at least going to listen to offers in the next few days, see what happens. But asking around the league, Nicole, most people don't expect a lot of blockbuster trades. They're like, look, it's COVID. We're trying to save some money here. Unless there's a missing piece you absolutely need to win a Super Bowl.
Okay, so if we're not expecting a ton of activity, which teams are going to be the most active?
Well, Nicole, I'm looking at Seattle because they know they need pass rush help. That's really the missing link for them. They're good everywhere else. They believe they have an elite defense if they can just shore up the front. So you heard the names mentioned. I expect them to be at least active in combing those markets, looking at all options, but they don't like to spend a whole lot, and they don't have a lot of draft capital. So a guy like Dunlap would be the perfect fit, but they probably don't want to go to his $10+ million salary. They could look at some cheaper available options. Now let's go to Washington. I don't expect them to be buyers, but they have an option to sell, and that's Dwayne Haskins. I spoke to a source close to the Haskins situation recently that said, look, a trade is probably inevitable at this point, either now or later. You might as well do it now. So Washington, I expect to at least entertain some offers. The question is, can they get enough capital for that? Now let's go to the Vikings. They, to me, are more trade flexible chic right now because they're not all the way in on a rebuild. They believe they can still be competitive, but they know they got to get rid of some parts and reset some things. Now, asking around the league, I don't expect they say Adam Thielen to be involved in a trade, but there are a couple other guys with big salaries they could get rid of. Safety Anthony Harris is a name to watch. He's on the franchise tag. They could look to move on there.
Trade flexible chic. Let's turn that into a thing. Right now, the Vikings are last in the NFC North, but the remaining schedule is the 11th easiest in the NFL. Thank you.
Hasn't been easy for the Jaguars. They shocked many when they opened up the season with a win over the Colts. Since then, they've lost 6 in a row and have given up at least 30 points in each game during the slide. Team has a bye this week, and Doug Marrone met with the media today, and he has a unique approach moving forward.
I am, and I'm not going to bullshit anyone up. I'm kind of fired up, and I know you guys are probably sitting like, "What the hell is going on? How could this guy be fired up? They just lost 6 in a row." And I understand that. I totally do. But I'm gonna bust my ass, man. I mean, I'm telling you now. I'm gonna look at some things. I want to go a little bit outside the box. I mean, I want to challenge these coaches and challenge these players. And see, I am going to do whatever I can to get the best out of this team and best out of these players. I mean, so, I'm sure people are going to, mock me for that or say whatever the hell they want, but I really don't give a shit. I'm fired up. I'm going to go after it, and, however it falls, but, it's open for me. I've done, crazy shit before.
So is he saying what, like DJ Shark to quarterback?
Yeah,
I mean, like, what does he have to lose at this point? Because his job seems to be a foregone conclusion.
They've got the Texans.
Signed with the Bucs. It's a one-year deal laden with incentives that could make it worth at most $2.5 million. Brown's then eligible to practice with the team until he's finished serving that 8-week suspension. But the expectation is that he will be on the field week 9 when the Bucs host the Saints. Now, if you've forgotten how Brown got to this point, there was the short stint with the Raiders in which he played no games, had the frozen foot, the helmet issue, and also the release Gruden phone call. After his Oakland release, Brown signed with the Patriots. That lasted a game before allegations of sexual misconduct. The Patriots released him. Then in January, Brown was arrested on charges of burglary and criminal mischief. He was then given an 8-game suspension for violating the league's personal conduct policy. To the football side of this story, here's Brown's old and also new quarterback.
Certainly I'm happy for Antonio to get an opportunity to resume his career, and he's put a lot of time and energy into working on a lot of things in his life, and I know he's excited to play football. So everyone's going to earn a role on our team, and I know that's his mindset too. Again, I think receiver position is really a position of strength on our offense, and how Antonio fits into that is going to be up to him and the role that he can create for himself, which is, which we all know what he's capable of when he's playing.
Tom, do you feel as though you've put your reputation out for Antonio, and does he understand that?
He's his own individual. Everybody has the opportunity in life, and again, I'm just happy that he's got another opportunity to play in the NFL. It's a great league, and I've been in it for 21 years. It's blessed me with a lot of things in my life, and I love playing football. I know he does too, and anytime you can add another player to that mix, certainly of Antonio's caliber, it's only going to help all of us grow, be better. I'm excited to get on the practice field to see what we can make of it.
We bring in our Dan Orlovsky, who is literally here with us. Look, Brady's had the offensive weapons, but they've also had a slew of injuries, including Chris Godwin. How do you see AB fitting into this offense?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to, when we say fit, it should always be can he excel in the offense, right? That's what these organizations should be doing. And if you watch the Bucs this year, they're doing 2 things really good on offense. They're doing a ton of play-action pass, and then Brady's really become a deep ball thrower. 2 things that AB does really well is be utilized in the play-action pass and then run downfield and catch big play-action passes or go routes. And so this is a place where he can thrive. This is a place where both talent-wise and scheme-wise, when it comes to the quarterback and what they're trying to do, Antonio Brown will step in right away and be like, oh, I'm at home. I'm comfortable with everything they're asking me to do. This is not going to be something where it's just going to be a pitch and catch offense for Antonio Brown. They're going to utilize his explosiveness, his suddenness, his ability to run routes, the matchup nightmare that he is. Like, that has become what Tampa Bay is doing offensively. So it's much more than just a fit. Like, it's an ideal place for Antonio Brown to go thrive. And if he's able to kind of just step in and be part of that locker room, he'll be productive right away.
What's your confidence level in that actually happening?
It usually would be very high, but the fact he couldn't do it last year with the same quarterback in a much more structured organization gives me a little pause on that.
Speaking of offense, by the way, is there an offense in Chicago?